Viewer discretion highly advised.
Welcome to Paranormal Nightshift, your home for all things that go bump in the dark and your fan stories told here. Abby writes in, I heard your story about doppelgangers and I wanted to share my experience with you. I don't know if it's spooky enough, but this is what happened to us. We live in a small farmhouse in rural Tennessee, but there's a house that was built directly behind us. It was a chicken house to begin with, and then our landlord converted it to a small 2-bedroom apartment. Somebody lived there at one point in time, but then it got dilapidated. Nobody could live there. It was kind of falling apart and was condemned. Our landlord just used it for storage. The house was at the back end of our property. We didn't let the kids go around there, and nobody enjoyed it being there. It was really an eyesore, but the house we lived in was very nice. One day, my husband was at work, and I was sitting on the porch with my son, who was playing with his dump truck. The dump truck fell off the porch and rolled towards the other house. I saw him walk over there, but before he picked the truck up, he looked at the house and began shaking his head and violently screaming, "No, I will not! No, no, no!" He grabbed his dump truck and ran onto the porch. He was terrified. "Who were you yelling at? What were you yelling at?" The other daddy. The other daddy wants me to go into the house. I said no. Took him inside, and we didn't play outside. I locked all the doors. I thought, mother's instinct, maybe worst case scenario, somebody was living in the house. I locked the doors, and we stayed inside the rest of the day until my husband came home. When I told my husband what had happened when he got home, he, of course, went and checked out the house. There was nothing in there but some of the things that the landlord had left in there. No one living there, no signs of anybody squatting. So we brushed it off as if it was nothing. It stayed that way for a couple of weeks. My husband would periodically go and check the house, but my son never talked about the other daddy again. Until one day I went to work and my husband was left at the house with our son. Both outside playing in the yard. My husband was mowing the grass when our son just became drawn to the house, looking in the windows. My husband asked him what was wrong, and he said, no, 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 no. The other mommy wants me to go in the house. I'm not going in the house with the other mommy. Now, we all know that children have overactive imaginations, and maybe he had made it up. But my husband and I both were convinced that whatever he had seen, he'd seen it twice. There's no way that this could just be overactive imagination. He was seeing something. But yet my husband and I saw nothing. Both of us had checked the house that night. There was nothing there. No other signs. The doors were completely locked. My husband went and bought a padlock just to make sure nobody could get into the house. And we made sure that we contacted the landlord. He hadn't been there in months. One weekend we were both home, grilling out, and our son was playing in the yard. That's when we both saw it with our own eyes. Our son, again, drawn to the house. Me and my husband both yelled at him, "Come back, get away from the house." He said, "But the other mommies are in there. The other daddy's in there. They want to talk to me." We looked up, and sure enough, standing in the window, pure reflections of ourselves, just being in the house. We have no idea what it was. We were terrified and frightened. We both grabbed our son and ran inside. We left the house that day, and we called the landlord and asked him as quickly as he could to please demolish the house, get rid of it. There's something in the house. We both saw it with our own eyes. We have never seen it again. 2 weeks later, the landlord came and the house was demolished. We've never had any other paranormal activity, but we saw replicas of ourselves, duplicates, mimics, doppelgangers, whatever they were in the house. I don't know what they would have done to my child if they found him or if he went into the house. I don't want to think like that. But that is our doppelganger experience. Thank you for sharing, and thank you for watching Paranormal Nightshift.